Hi, welcome. My name is Lourdes Estrada and I have a private practice in the city of La Mirada. And so a couple weeks ago, I briefly touched in on a point on how do you manage your relationships with a difficult person, right? And sometimes we encounter these difficult individuals at work. They could be our neighbors, they could be friends, or they could be family members. I think it's a little bit harder when you see them every day. So if it's at work and if it's a family member, I think family members becomes a little bit harder to manage with, right? And so I wanted to just do a quick video on what are some of the things that I've been reading that, help in some of the stuff that I've actually applied myself and that I've had some clients apply that they've actually reported successful feedback in that sense. And so, a lot of times it's like, how do you know you're dealing with a difficult person, right? Well, I think you kind of know, especially with that person at work who's constantly complaining, who's constantly whining, who's constantly has just negative feedback and a negative sense of being. Like you just kind of sense it, right? And just you knowing that you're going to interact with that person, it's already draining. Same thing with a family member. It's like you get to see them and you think everything will be fine and you end up in an argument, or they have a negative comment. These individuals tend to be very controlling, and when things don't go their way, they get upset, they manipulate. These individuals also present themselves to have like two personalities. They might be loving and caring, and then behind your back, they're talking all this nonsense about you or about other people, right? Or you actually see them, right? They're engaging with another family member and they're happy and dandy with them, and then the minute that person leaves, they turn to you and then they start telling you all these negative things about that person. When I see that, I'm wondering like, wow, okay, if you were that fake with that person while they were here, and now you turn around, you're telling me all these things about him, what are you not saying about me, right? Or what are you not saying about other people? So that's a red flag. Same thing with coworkers. There's individuals who are super difficult to deal with, and the way I've confronted that situation is where you're at work, and so you just keep a very professional relationship. Just because you're at work doesn't mean you have to go out for lunch, doesn't mean you have to hang out. It's just a very professional relationship. And so what helps is set very good, clear boundaries. Know what you're going to talk about, know for how long time you're going to interact with that person. And a lot of times, especially when it's a family member, I think we are inclined to try to fix them. And unfortunately, you just can't fix that person. It is what it is, and they're going to react like that because that's just who they are. And how you know that they're difficult too is because they're not only having conflict with you, but they've had conflict with other individuals, whether it's in the family, whether it's their marital relationships or personal relationships. They've just consistently have conflict. And you're like, wow, that person is so negative, and there's a reason why. The personality, and unfortunately, you cannot change it. It is what it is, and so it's important for you to be mindful of that. Also, know how to approach that person. So it's like be present, be direct. Know that they can easily push those buttons, right? They probably already know what to say to you, how to say it, to get you in that mode, right? To react to them. And so by you doing that, you're actually giving them satisfaction because you're proving their point to their own selves, and you don't need that. You don't need to get into that dialogue, into that argument with them. So be mindful of that they probably know your triggers and they probably know how to push your buttons. Another thing, is just stay true to yourself. What I say to my clients is just stay focused. Know what you went in there for, what you're going to talk about. Again, those boundaries, right? How much time you have to be there. If things aren't working out, if things are just getting heated, then walk away, and that's okay. A lot of times I feel that walking away means that we're giving in to that person or that their opinion is correct. You're being the better person by just walking away. And I know we hear it everywhere, right? Just walk away, you're the better person. Sometimes we feel like we have to counterattack and we have to say all these things. It's not necessary. That person who's very difficult to manage it, they won't understand it and they won't get it. The other thing, is, it's also You need to allow them, I guess, when you start talking about the problem, right? Allow them to express what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and give them the floor. And then say, okay, I hear you. That's your point of view. This is my point of view. This is how I perceived it. This is how your comment made me feel. And if they're willing to listen to you, they're honestly, genuinely gonna change it and try to listen to you. They will. They won't react. If you find yourself again, you're going into this cycle of emotion and spiraling down again, then it's just best to say, you know what, okay, I think we both can agree to disagree and just leave it like that, and that's okay. Don't try to push more for it. Another thing is, like I said earlier, be mindful of those triggers, because those triggers can set you off quickly. So you want to be aware of that. Know what topics are. You're not going to talk about politics because you already know you're going to get into a conflict. You're not going to talk about family because you know it's going to get you into a conflict. So just know what's okay to talk to. If it's a family member, you're going to see them at an event, then just be respectful and cordial and be, hey, how are you? Nice to see you. Great, okay. And then go somewhere else. Go talk to another family member that you haven't seen for a while. That's fine. You're being respectful. You're being there for that person who invited you. And that's what matters. And this difficult person will always try to make you feel like it's your fault. And you're going to even try to wonder and ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Just know that it's not you. It really is not you, it's them. And again, see it in the outside perspective where they're having this conflict with everyone. Probably their kids, probably their husband, their wife, probably their brothers, sisters, their parents, colleagues, they're like this everywhere. So it's not just you. That's a big indicator, okay? And you got to take care of yourself. If you have to start putting some limits and boundaries and, hey, you know what, I'm just going to reach out to you and talk to you when we're at a family event or just at work, perfect. If it's a family friend or a friend and you're noticing how toxic that friendship is, that relationship is, then start setting those boundaries. Pick and choose when you're going to hang out or what you're going to do. It's important. Your well-being is very important, okay? You got to take care of yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you, okay? So I hope this was helpful. If you have any additional ideas, suggestions, I would love to hear them. Okay, so have a great day. All right, bye-bye.